Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello, welcome back to episode 7. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be calling this episode. I mean, I kind of label these episodes once I film them, so I kind of just go with the flow on that. And honestly, like I've been saying, I kind of go with the flow with this whole podcast, thing anyway. So today I wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit. I'm by myself this time. Uh, the last episode, if you tuned in, I had my boyfriend with me, and we talked about just basically some, relationship topics that I thought would be interesting, or some kind of off the wall questions to ask. So, yeah, in today's video, I wanted to switch things up a bit and kind of touch on design, graphic design. And I figured for the first one, I'll kind of just talk about, how I became a graphic designer, how I even started doing design, and just becoming a part of the design world, I guess you could say. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll just start there. Hopefully, my background for the visual people who are watching, the visual people. That's what I said in my the last episode, and I just thought about it, and I was like, visual people, the visual viewers, for the video proportion. Hopefully the screen doesn't time out behind me. The So my setup, of course, has changed again. Big shock. I feel like every other video, it's kind of switched up. Of course, last episode, I had my boyfriend with me, so, I needed to switch it up for that. But then we kind of got our computer set up and all that, and the desk came in, which is nice. So finally have a little setup. There's definitely going to be some changes and adjustments as we go along because we're still decorating and I'm still trying to decide on the camera angle and all this stuff. And also, my camera, for some reason, it'll film like 20 minutes of something and then it goes black. So I'm going to have to Google that or research that and see why it's doing that, because on my SD card I have at least, well, it claims I have 2 hours and some minutes that I can record. So if this goes over 20 minutes, I'm going to have to pause and go around the camera and see if we're still filming. I've had it happen to me twice already. The last episode it happened, luckily, I think it missed like 10 minutes or something like that of the episode. The episode before that, where I talked about, oh geez, what was it? Um, like the buzzwords is what I'm just gonna call it. Because it was like self love, self care, and manifestations or manifesting, something like not the true form of that, by the way. I kind of wanted to go back to that because I still need to finish it anyway. And I was going to with this episode, but I figured let's kind of bounce around a little bit. Um, because every episode, it's not really supposed to link into another episode, which would be cool. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. But I kind of, for my brain and for this season of the podcast, because of course there's going to be other seasons, um, I kind of just wanted it to be like different themes, like each video be different. So I kind of wanted to touch back on that just because I feel like when people hear the word capitalism, it has so much weight to that word. And I mean, it's a pretty serious word. But what I meant, just in case, people watching and listening didn't really get the message, is that I was talking about the not real form of self love and manifesting, the buzzwords, quote unquote. So, what I mean by that is like, let's say you're marketing something, right? And, if you market it for health care or, self love, self care, manifestations, hopes and dreams. I'm trying to think of some other ones, like all the popular ones. Then that's what I'm talking about is like the not real form of that. Basically, just the marketing side is capitalism. And I think we'd all agree on that. That's not far fetched. What I'm not saying is that if you practice, manifesting or manifestations, and, like self love, self care, whatever it is, whichever form of that, I'm not saying that that's capitalism. That's what I'm not saying. So I just wanted to like clear some things up just in case, it needed some clearing up. I don't think it does, but anyway, I do plan on going back and finishing that because I still have the outline for, from that video. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But anyways, for today's episode, let's get back on that topic. Is design. So, going back to high school me, again, everybody who is anybody, and you're thinking about, oh, well, what am I going to do for the rest of my life as far as a career goes and stuff like that? Are you going to go to college? What are you going to go to college for? So um, I knew from a very young age that I definitely wanted to do something in the art world, whether that be fine art, digital art, whatever. Um, I found graphic design and photography basically around the same time. And it was more of an accident than anything. And what I mean by that is that, it's kind of like whenever you're discovering like your style, like what kind of clothes you want to wear. You're young, you're a teenager, you don't really know how you want to present yourself. You're not sure of yourself. And it definitely comes across as that. You're not really that confident. Like you try to come across as being confident and stuff like that. So that way, the person you're talking to or whatever doesn't pick up that, you don't really know what you're talking about or doing, let alone. So basically, so like some of these stories that I talk about, I'm trying to kind of like go back to that feeling, if that makes any sense, and try to bring that feeling across, whether you're viewing or listening. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us out there can relate. It's very relatable, like in the early days. You think back to high school, particularly, unless you had middle college, which for me, I'm 33. That didn't start until I left high school, sadly. So a lot of different classes came up whenever I was graduating. I did get to graduate a little early, which is great. I graduated in January of 2011. So as soon as I found out I could graduate early, I was like, that's what I'm doing. Ain't nobody gonna tell me any different or talk me out of doing that. So, yeah, I knew from a young age, like I said, I wanted to do something in the art world. I also knew what college I wanted to go to because, of course, everybody wants to go to a 4-year college. Who doesn't, right? But you don't want the debt. So I already knew that I was going to go to a community college. I'm not going to say which one for reasons. But, anyways, that's what I did. So, in high school, I stumbled upon graphic design and photography. I did not know what graphic design, like the technical term, I didn't know the technical term until I was about to sign up for classes at my community college. So I was looking in the book, of all the degrees and stuff like that they had and that they offered at the time. And I stumbled upon graphic design, and I finally realized that that's what I had been doing, like staying up late. Because basically, on Facebook, MySpace, I was like the go to person for my friends and for people I didn't even know and for people I didn't even talk to. They wanted me to edit their photo. The fad back then was, oh, well, make me look like I'm at the beach. When really that photo was not taken at the beach. So I got obsessed with that, and actually not just Facebook and MySpace, but it was also a site called IMVU, like the letters. It's not INVU. That's not what I'm saying. It's an IMVU. And I have to say it like that because sometimes it sounds like I say I envy you, and it's not. But basically, it was an avatar, kind of like a 3D chat room, sort of. Back whenever I joined, it was not, as it wasn't like a Second Life, which is also another website or whatever. I don't say software because you do have to download like their client or whatever to be able to log in and do all that. But on there, you could 3D design things. You could design all kinds of stuff. And so, whenever I joined that, I got obsessed with editing people's avatar photos, making their avatar look like their hair is different or a different color or, shiny. Or I have some old YouTube videos still up on my YouTube at the moment, right now, that you're watching this, that are still up on my YouTube channel of me editing, a photo or, making somebody's avatar look like they're at the beach or whatever the case is. And if they had acne or I'm not trying to be mean, but heavier set people, they were like, oh, can't you make me skinnier? Or can't you take my blemishes and my pores away and stuff like that? And so that's basically what I did. That's how I started. I was up all, almost all night, days on end, doing God knows what, all kinds of different stuff. The list is endless. If I didn't know how to do something, then I'd go to YouTube at the time because, YouTube was new, but it was, it was still there, or I would Google something. So I joined YouTube. I think I made this channel in 2007. So I'm part of the OG group. But I was not consistent with uploading. So, yes, if I was consistent with uploading, I would probably be making quite a bit of money right now. But that's not the point. The point is that I was a self taught, or I am a self taught graphic designer and photographer. I've been doing graphic design for, oh God, since like 2011. So, you can you can do the math. A long time is just what I'm gonna say. I've been doing photography since 2011. That's when I actually started. Um, Professionally, I started doing graphic design. Um, Probably sometime. Trying to think. Maybe. Oh, geez. Trying to. I'm having to think about this because I'm a graphic designer for where I work now. The downfall of where I work now is that everything that I either design or put together, I cannot share it per se because, well, I can't share it at all because, you sign an NDA and stuff like that. So, I can't share what I do, sadly. I can talk about it, and I might try to talk about it at some point in time. We'll see how that goes, but I've been working there for 8 years, so I've definitely been in the design world and photography world well over 10 years, doing it professionally and basically self made. I don't really like to use that term because I feel like people would be like, oh, she thinks she's all that or whatever. But you know what? You, like I said, should have the confidence. Sorry, I gotta. Okay, my cat was scratching her face on my tripod. Anyways, to get back to what I was saying, you have to sound confident. Saying the word self made is not being big headed or boasting about yourself. Um, Plus, I think you should kind of boast about yourself a little bit, especially when you don't do it. And I don't boast about myself at all. So I'll talk about myself, but I really don't like to, especially to other people, because not everybody is rooting for you, okay? So I have always, from a very young age, I mean, kid, I've always been quiet and pretty shy. Now that I'm older, I'm not so shy, but when I was a kid, I was painfully shy. And so, yeah, I mean, now I try to be confident, come across as confident because, especially if you're selling yourself, you want your client to feel comfortable in your hands. So, but anyways, get back to the story. I spent countless days and nights. I started doing YouTube tutorials on stuff that I was doing. And, it hit me when I was looking at the book of classes and degrees, and I'm like, I came across it's an applied science degree for advertising and graphic design or something like that. Is basically the gist of my degree, and I have a minor in photography. But I it hit me when I saw that in the book, and I was like, "Oh my god." That's what I've been doing for days and nights on end, staying up, all hours of the night teaching myself different things and different techniques and different softwares and all this stuff. And I'm like, I need to go to college for that. That's what I need to do. Cuz I originally wanted to go in for game design, and I figured, well, why don't we kind of like quote unquote start small? I'm here to tell you, don't start small. Start where you want to start, because by the time you get done with college and getting your degree, especially if you plan on going to a university that's 4 years and then you go to graduate school, you spend all those years in school. If there's any kind of advice to give to anybody watching or listening, whether you're about to go back to school or you are, whether you're younger or older, right? Is that my best advice to someone who's about to go to school, whether you're young or old, doesn't matter. I just repeated what I just said, but it would be to either start big, or if you've already taught yourself something, don't go to school for that, because you have taught yourself a bunch of different techniques and all kinds of, you've spent the time on yourself and on your craft, because that's what it is a craft, and you're crafting your craft. And you've spent all this time. Why go to school for something that you've literally taught yourself just to have a piece of paper? No. I would say, like, for me, I taught myself basically graphic design and photography. I should not have went to school for that. What I should have done is gone to school for business and administration. So that way I could come out of college and, make my own business, because that's what I was trying to do anyway. I wanted to get out of college, and have my own design firm or creative studio, whatever you want to call it. And that didn't happen because, hindsight is 2020. That's a great saying. Everybody says it. Everybody knows what it means. You think back on stuff that you did when you were a teenager or in your 20s or whatever, and you're like, man, why did I do that? I should have done this. And this is one of those moments, which is why I say that would be my best advice for anybody. Whether you're starting a photography or game design, graphic design, website design, it doesn't matter. Interior design, it doesn't matter. Like, if you've taught yourself the skills and you've also practiced the skills, and then you've also, started doing it professionally, don't waste your time or your money. Don't do it. Because, yeah, and the screen did time out behind me. It's okay. I'm just gonna keep rolling. Yeah, don't waste your time or your money, because you could add on to what you already know, is what I'm saying. And so I didn't do that. So I went to school for graphic design and photography. I needed to fill in some time. So I was like, why don't I just do photography? I already know, you know, I've already got a camera. and all that. So, yeah. Um, but again, hindsight is 2020. Like I said, I came out of college. I wanted to start my own photography business, graphic design business, and production company. Those three things that I just said are very ambitious, and for someone to do that by themselves, all three of those things, I'm not going to say it's unachievable, but it's hard. Um, Obviously, because what I ended up doing, and the reason why I wasn't consistent on YouTube, was because I was spending me by myself all the time creating content, continuous content, by the way, whether it be video, photo, whatever. And I had 3 pages that I ran on Facebook, because you're trying to get your name out there and stuff like that. Excuse me. And I also made my own website, and all of these things take time. Some of them take money. If you want to do it right, which you're going to want to do it right, there's no sense in starting something if you can't, one, finish it, and two, if you can't do it right. And all these things take time, which, I'm young. I didn't understand that. I mean, I did, but I didn't. So I ran an Instagram page. I ran 3 Facebook pages. I made my own website. I tried to get my name out there by word of mouth, by advertising, by, all these different things. And it worked. It eventually worked. It was, not too slow, but because honestly, word of mouth is actually still to this day, I think, like the best way to, kind of get your name out there. Obviously, we have AI these days, which I think will be a different episode topic that I talk about. I plan on touching on AI, especially in the design world. That's a sensitive subject, and, you either like it or you don't. But, and you also have your search engine optimization if you have a website, or SEO, which is basically how people are able to, whenever they search up plate design, you'll pop up, hopefully. That's the idea. So that way you get more traffic, you get your name out there. But see, nowadays you have that. Back then, you didn't. You had that in some way because you kind of did hashtags and stuff like that, or you kind of tagged your media as whatever it was, so that way whoever can, basically, search you or whatever the case may be. That's about it. You had some of what you have now, but now, not that it's easier, but I feel like it's a little easier to get your name out there, to get your work out there, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say that's a good gist of how I started in the early days. Um, I believe we're almost at 30 minutes, or we might be over 30 minutes. So, I do plan on basically talking about some different design topics. And I kind of wanted to put this episode out there first. So that way, you can kind of learn a little bit more about me. I'm not just a photographer, I'm a designer as well. And I don't think I talked about what kind of designer. So I know you have quite a bit of different designers out there. You know, you could be a UX, UI designer, so user experience, user interface designer. That's website base or a web designer, to put it short. You've got concept artists. You've got all kinds of different interior designers, graphic designers, but then under graphic design would be, well, sort of website. I mean, there's all kinds of different designers. So I just say graphic design because honestly, I love it all, which is my problem. I sometimes can be too broad, and if you're trying to focus on all of that, it can get kind of overwhelming. So, um, for right now, uh, what I do, or what I'm basically going to be doing on the side, per se, or let's see how to word that. Right now, I do logo design, branding design. So, logo and branding, they basically go together. But if you already have branding and you just need an updated logo, I can do that. Or if you need the whole brand identity, I can do that. If, I can basically do quite a bit of different things. If I sat here and went through everything that I can do, it'd be a long list. I mean, anywhere from logo design to, of course, your typical business cards, business head letter, or business, the head design of your letters. I don't think people really use business cards or like, uh, sort of like, I mean, you kind of use branding on like a letter that you might send out or whatever, but and business cards, I believe nowadays are more digital than your regular, let's go get this printed. And unless you go to like shows or expos or something like that, I could see where traditional business cards, you might would use. Um, yeah, anything from logo design to photo restoration. If you have an old photo that you need rebuilt, I can do that. All kinds of different things. Um, but, and I kind of don't have a favorite per se, just because I like so many different things. But yeah, I figured for this episode, I would start with me, so that way y'all can learn a little bit more about me. You probably already heard some of this from previous episodes. And I'm sure in future episodes, I'll probably talk more about it as well. But from this, I'll probably break down into different design topics like trendy designs, again, AI design, people using AI for their, design. I know some artists use it for concepts and stuff like that, which I would probably kind of use it for that but I don't use AI for anything. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Like, I might go on ChatGPT and, like, me and my coworkers, we messed around with it here and there just to be funny, but we didn't actually use any of it. I know some people out there, though, who, like, will heavily use AI for, like, everything, which is not good, first off. But again, if you're doing like concept art, I do know an artist who does that. Or, if you're just being funny or something like that. But I know it's a touchy subject, and I know a lot of artists, are whenever AI first came out, they're like, oh no, this isn't. They were completely against it, and then some of them were for it. So, yeah, so I plan on sitting down, thinking about it, and thinking about what kind of design topics I want to talk about first. And we'll go from there, basically. If you have any design topics that you want to talk about or are interested in, please leave a comment down below. Let me know, because I would be interested in that and talking about that first. So, and my cat is trying to get up here. Yeah, I believe with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, especially because my cat keeps wanting to jump up on the desk to see what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm excited to be talking about. These are all topics that I love, and they're all topics that I've been doing for years, for a long time. So I figure, you know, uh, why not, right? So yeah, I wanted to touch on some other topics in this video, or in this episode, but I've been rambling. So, anyways, yes, that's what I'm planning on doing, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.